It's enough for Allah Azza wa Jal to tell me and you, do something, and that's it. We do it. We don't have to know why, how. There's no problem in finding out the wisdoms. But it is enough for Allah Azza wa Jal to speak in the Qur'an and say, oh, you who believe, do this, and that's it, I do it. However, you know, in the ayah of the amana, of the trust, Allah Azza wa Jal takes it a step further. He says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَةِ. Allahu Akbar. Allah Azza wa Jal says, verily Allah commands you to fulfill the trust to who it belongs. Inna Allah ya'murukum. So it's not Allah Azza wa Jal tells you, oh, you believe, do this. No, no, no. Allah Azza wa Jal, and inna is harf ta'keed. Inna in the Arabic language is an emphasis. You could have said, Allah Azza wa Jal could have said, Allah yaqul kaza. Or Allah ya'murukum, which is bad enough as it is, commands you. But for him to say, Inna Allah ya'murukum, verily Allah Azza wa Jal commands you, أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها, to render the trust to whom they belong. وإذا حكمتم أن تحكموا أو إذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل. But that's not our topic today. Verily Allah Azza wa Jal commands you, O you who believe, to fulfill the trust to whom it belongs. In the ayah about the successful believers, not all believers are successful. Allah Azza wa Jal describes them. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Right? Go down a few verses. What's their characteristics? One of them is وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. Those who observe their trust, they give them back to who they belong, and their covenants, their promises. In another ayah, he says وَأَوْفُوا بِالْعَهْدِ إِنَّ الْعَهْدِ كَانَ مَسْئُولًا. Subhanallah. إِنَّ الْعَهْدَ كَانَ مَسْئُولًا. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, and keep your promises, for verily Allah will inquire into them. Allah will ask you about them. He'll inquire into that amana, into that trust, into that promise you made. Allah Azza wa Jal, again, in another verse, He links it to Iman. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, awfu bil-uqud. Oh, you believe, fulfill your obligations, your promises, your amanat. Again and again, Allah Azza wa Jal, look how powerful the verses are. Linked to the command of Allah, linked to emphasis, linked to Iman, linked to belief, linked to success. Like, what's this amana? What's an amana? What is this trust? The scholars, they categorize them in four categories. The scholars, they break them up into four categories. The first one we spoke about. That's to do with wealth. We said fitna for the believers and fitna for the disbelievers. When you work for someone and you make a certain contract but you break that contract, or you don't pay that person on time, or you steal his money and you hit the runner. All that which is linked to wealth, even taking someone to court, while you know you're at fault, but just to take something off him, you want something from him, all this, that person, just to let you know, stands in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, while Allah is already angry from him, before the judgment even starts. Prophet ﷺ said, whoever stands before a judge, bearing witness for that which is not his, then let him know that he will stand in front of Allah while Allah is already angry from him. So the first amana, the first dangerous amana to do with wealth, we spoke about. The second amana is that which is to do with the a'rad. My wife, my daughters, my sisters, my aunties, my mother. The a'rad in Islam is a huge amana. Forgive me, I've always said it, it's always the man's fault. The man is always at fault. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean the woman doesn't get the sin. But the man, when the woman gets the sin, he gets it with her. Very rarely do you find someone who has fulfilled his amana towards his wife or children or whatever it may be, so much so that when they do a sin, he's not at fault. Usually he started it, or it was his fault for not teaching, or for not being there, or whatever it may be. The a'rad is a massive amana in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. Even a secret that's told between two, a husband and wife or whatever it may be, and they go and they spread it, that's breaking the amana. A husband sleeping with his wife and going about telling his friends or someone else about what he done in bed, that's destroying the amana. Today it's widespread. Can you believe the Prophet ﷺ standing up in his mosque amongst the companions, the best of generations? He tells them, oh my companions, don't tell me that you sleep with you, have relations with your wives, and then you go tell other people about it. The companions went silent. They used to do it. The companions went silent. This was before the law came out. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, "O women, don't tell me you sleep with your husbands and then you spread the secret, or you tell others about it." The women went quiet until a fatat, a young girl, 13, 14, stands up and says, "Ya Rasulullah, yes the men do that and yes the women do that." And wallahi, there are pages upon pages that can be spoken, that the fact that a young girl got up and spoke and knew this was going on. However, that's not our topic. We'll get to that in a bit if we have time. So the Prophet ﷺ, what did he say? And what did he describe them as? He goes, "Don't you dare do that. For verily the example of the one who does that is like a shaitan." He called them a shaitan. "And a shaitana," a female shaitan, "who meet each other in the street, sleep together and then part ways in front of everyone." That's what he described someone who broke the trust of the ard. A shaitan and a shaitana. And the Prophet, look, what more do you want? Then the Prophet says, "No one will stand in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment in a worse situation than the man who sleeps with his wife and then spreads." No one. No one will stand in front of Allah in a worse situation than the one who spreads the secrets of the household, of his relations with their spouse. How my wife dresses, how my kids dress, why they reach that level. Was it my fault? Did I not teach them along the way? Was I not there for them at all times? Did I accept her as she was and then my child grew up with it? SubhanAllah, our kids have a right upon us before we even get married. Before we even get married, our kids have rights upon us to choose a righteous husband or wife, a father or mother for those children. How they dress. Forgive me, what? Allah Azza wa Jal made the man as a wali over the woman, over his wife, over his children. A guardian. What are you a guardian for? What are you a guardian for? Why do you have kids if you don't want to take that responsibility? I go to work for a company. He puts me in a certain role. If I don't want to take the responsibility, I tell him I don't want that role. I don't want the responsibility. You got married. You're now held responsible for that woman. You're the guardian. What are you guardian for if she's walking out dressed Allah alam how? What are you guardian for if your child, Allah alam what she's doing, as she's... That's an amana. That's a trust that Allah Azza wa Jalla questioned me and you about. Tabarruj, subhanAllah, dressing inappropriately. That's a sign that Allah Azza wa Jalla is angry with you. Tabarruj, being dressed inappropriately, that's a sign Allah Azza wa Jalla is displeased with you. Why? As soon as Adam alayhi salam committed that sin in Jannah, he made that mistake, he fell for the trick of the shaitan. What did Allah Azza wa Jalla do as a punishment? As a sign of His anger? He removed their clothes. He removed their clothes as a sign of His anger upon them for falling for the tricks of the shaitan. Today they fight. They fight with their parents, they fight with their relatives, they fight with their brothers, they go to war to willingly undress or dress inappropriately. The West, they kill each other, they'll kill each other, they backbite, they slander, they're snakes behind each other's backs to jump on camera and sleep with 20 men for money. That's where we've reached today. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. So the amana of the a'rad is a very powerful amana. The third amana that I want to speak about is something which you might think is far-fetched, but I'm going to relate it to me and you, don't worry. Leadership. The Prophet ﷺ told us, he who places someone in a role of leadership when he knows there's someone better than him for that role, has betrayed Allah and His Prophet. He has betrayed Allah and His Prophet. But you know what, let's say we're not leaders. We don't own countries, we don't own organizations, whatever it may be. On a personal level, me and you, where am I a leader? Where am I responsible for others? In my own house. In my own household. My wife and my kids. They're my amana. I'm a leader to them. I'm Rabbul Bayt, the Lord of the household. Allah Azza wa Jal, He gives us a blank slate. SubhanAllah. A blank slate. Pure, innocent, white, blank slate. Our children. then it's up to us either to raise them on good habits or corrupt that blank slate. Our children are our amanah. See, when I get angry and shout and scream in front of them, I'm corrupting that blank slate, because they're going to pick up those habits. And when they get angry, they're going to shout and they're going to scream and they're going to swear. When I backbite and slander people in front of them, even if you think they're not listening, trust me, they're absorbing everything, and you're corrupting that blank slate that Allah Azza wa Jal gave you, that amanah. When I teach them that it's alright to lie when there's a benefit, I tell him I'm not here. Don't tell him I'm there, or they're on the phone. Or blatant haram, taking them to mixed weddings and fun and parties and dancing. Just the other day, subhanAllah, my wife was showing me, like, mabsoot fiya. He's got a daughter and he's standing dancing and Hada, and she's wearing short. It's only young, but no, he's already corrupting her from now. Argila and mixing and haram. That's an amanah that we're corrupting. See, when a wife bad mouths her husband in front of the kids, or a husband bad mouths his wife in front of his kids, their mother, they're going to grow up doing that to their husbands, getting the worst of sin, corrupting that white blank slate, that pure amanah that Allah Azza wa Jalla gave us. And you know what? It's even worse than that. What's worse than that is that you're pretty much setting them up for hellfire. When you do that in front of your kids, you're pretty much setting them up for hellfire. Why? Because only two things can happen when that occurs. Either that kid is going to sit there and listen to his mother or father badmouth the other parent, and he's going to put some sort of hatred towards his other parent, therefore he can't treat her as good as he can. Therefore, that's the worst of sins, to be disrespectful to your parents. Or he's going to explode that the parent that's bad-mouthing the other parent and grab more sins. What other options are there? What other options are there? We have people now, we have kids now that come to the center that we're dealing with that have the same issue. Mother and father divorced. She bad-mouths him, he bad-mouths him. She's married to a step-husband, he doesn't get along with him. He goes to his dad's house, he's sitting down, they're eating, they're mabsuteen, all of a sudden your mum's are 1, 2, 3, 4. What did he do? He left the house, he broke the house apart, he left the house on drugs, he sold drugs, he done everything. Whose fault is that? Wallahi, it's the parents' fault. Wallahi, the parents are the ones who broke that trust. And they're going to be held accountable. Instead of being there for him, instead of being there for him every day, teaching them the tools they need to get through this filthy society, with their Islam intact, with their Iman intact, with the semblance of a chance to enter Jannah. The only time we spend with them is go study. That's it, that's on a good day. Or go do this or fix that or clean. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. You know, everywhere I failed, and you know, the past 2-3 months, the amount of cases of atheism, people living Islam, is unbelievable that I've received. Every single one of these kids who fails or falters or has doubts somewhere, and it was my fault for not teaching him, I'm held responsible. Like, why you take that trust and that responsibility, and why have kids if you don't want to fulfill the trust and fulfill that responsibility? What about when it comes to marriage? The fathers who are supposed to care for their daughters, for their sons, they're supposed to find someone good for them, righteous, deen and akhlaq. Go see the amount of brothers that I know, one after the other. And what was funny, one of them called up one of the boys that I was trying to help to get married. He calls him up, he goes to him, brother, I know you're a nice bloke, you're good, but I care about my daughter. I'm worried that you're too religious for her. What a traitor. What a traitor to the amanah. Allah Azza wa Jalla gave him an amanah, and instead of finding someone good for her, he doesn't want someone too good, he wants someone that compromises a bit in his deen. Gets along with us, and he'll do some haram here and there. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. You know you know what gets to me, subhanAllah, when you try to speak to some of these people, and the words they utter, inshallah that's not their intention, but pretty much on the outside it's kufr. No, brother, your daughter, your son, your cousin, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be dressed like this, shouldn't be going there. Or a mother, sister, and cover. You look at you, mashallah, from top to bottom, jilbab and abaya and iman, and your daughter's walking out like, well, how's she going to get married then? So is the miniskirt what's getting the rizq, the nasib, or is it Allah Azza wa Jal? I don't understand, yani. At the end of the day, look, you catch what you bait. When I go fishing, I put a prawn, I catch something. I put a worm, I catch something else. I put a fish, I catch something else. You catch what you bait. When you dress like that, who are you baiting? You're not baiting someone that's going to have deen and akhlaq. And then when this guy marries you and comes along and decides he wants to compromise in treating you well, compromise the ruling in Islam where he has to treat you well, or has to raise your kids on Islam, don't blame anyone but yourself. That's what you asked for. That's what you baited. May Allah forgive us and forgive them. And number 4 is the greatest of amanat. SubhanAllah, this 4th amana is the greatest of amanat, even though all of the others are linked to it. So this 4th amana is what? It's Allah Azza wa Jall's rights upon us, me and you. All those other amanat, the leadership and the arad and the wealth and all that, they're Allah Azza wa Jall's rights upon us, but they're a dual right. They're a right of Allah and a right of that person who you've taken the amana or you've harmed or you haven't fulfilled your trust towards. However, here in this number 4, I'm talking about the amanat that are completely 100% the rights of Allah and not the servants of Allah, the creation of Allah. Things like our salah, our zakat, our fasting, or zakat kaman is linked to people. Our fasting is solely for Allah Azza wa Jal. These actions, who is more worthy of fulfilling your rights towards than Allah Azza wa Jal? If I've got prayers that I've missed that I owe, just like I owe someone money, I pay that person money, his money back. Don't I owe Allah Azza wa Jal his rights? If there's days I haven't fasted, don't I owe Allah Azza wa Jal these rights? That poor child that's walking across the road that my zakat would have reached, he's not going to know I didn't pay my zakat. Let's say I turn to Islam and I'm going well. I had a brother who 40 something years old, he came to the deen and he's doing everything correct, and he's, you know what, not only is he giving his zakat now, but he's paying above and beyond. He was giving sadaqah left, right and center. One day I mentioned zakat to him. He goes, what's zakat? Turns out for the past 25 years or so, since he was working, he didn't even know there was such a thing as zakat. He thought it was just sadaqah. He was just giving sadaqah left, right and center, but there was no zakat paid. Who is more worthy of fulfilling those responsibilities, those rights towards? And the answer is Allah Azza wa Jal. If I'm going to fulfill a right towards people, it's more befitting of me to fulfill the rights of Allah Azza wa Jal. And the rights of Allah Azza wa Jal, you know, subhanAllah, there's a powerful verse in the Qur'an, مَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيَذَرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ عَلَى مَا أَنْتُمْ عَلَيْهِ حَتَّى يَمِيزَ الْخَبِيثَ مِنَ الطَّيِّبِ. Allah Azza wa Jal will not leave the believers on what you are upon. And there's a wisdom here in why he went from third person to first person. But anyway, leave that aside. Allah Azza wa Jal will not leave the believers upon what you are upon until He distinguishes the truthful from the liars, the ones who are fake from the ones who are honest. But you know what the amazing part is? That next verse, He goes, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُطْلِعَكُمْ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ. That one, that's amazing, that one. Never will Allah Azza wa Jal reveal the ghaib, the future to you. Why did Allah Azza wa Jal say that? See, not every ruling that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us, me and you are going to know the outcome of that ruling. It's impossible. Something as simple as, obey your parents and never disrespect them. I'm never going to know if I did disrespect them, where this is going to lead me, where it's going to go. Just like the ruling of Allah Azza wa Jal, take the one with deen and akhlaq. I'm going to take someone. If I decide to take someone that doesn't have deen akhlaq, or his compromises in somewhere in there, I'll never know where this will lead me down the track. In a year's time, in 5 years time, in 10 years time, in 30 years time with my kids and grandkids. This is what Allah is telling you here. I don't want you to understand why you have to obey my law. I'm not going to tell you the future. I'm not going to show you what's going to happen. I want you to trust in me and apply it, and I'll protect you. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُطْلِعَكُمْ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَجْتَبِي مِنْ رُسُلِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. However, Allah Azza wa Jal chooses from His prophets whoever He wills. The ones who won't question, the ones who trust in Allah Azza wa Jal's laws and rulings and spread that to the people without question. And I'm not talking about it's haram for you to find out the wisdoms behind something. I'm talking about you having to find the wisdoms in order to obey Allah. No, we're Muslims, we submit. When Allah says something, we do it. After we do it, if we want to find out the wisdoms, that's fine. But I have to find out the wisdoms in order to do it? No, that's not Islam. That's not Muslim. That's not submission. And why am I saying this? When Allah Azza wa Jal tells you to fulfill your amana, so much so that even if someone betrays you, still don't break your amana towards him. Ya Rabb, sam'an wa ta'a. Oh Allah, we hear and we obey. See, what we usually think is, I fulfill my amanat, but if that guy's harmed me, I'm not going to pay his money. If that guy's taken something off me, the money that I owe him here, I'm not going to pay it back. No. If my kid's no good towards me, khalas, stuff him, kick him out. No, they're still your amana. Even if they betrayed you, even if they harm you. What a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Without you knowing the outcome, without you knowing what's going to happen, trust in Allah Azza wa Jal and fulfill your amana. And Allah Azza wa Jal will take care of the rest. We don't even know what's going on in our own bodies, wallahi. My brain now, as I'm talking, I don't even know the millions of processes that are happening for me to just be able to speak. And we're gonna question Allah Azza wa Jal and His rulings. We're going to question what? SubhanAllah, I remember a kid who was a troublesome kid all his life. Little did he know that if he was listening to his parents all 15, 20 years down the track, he wouldn't have been shot and his wife killed. We don't know where it's going to end. SubhanAllah, the story of Khudr comes to mind when him and they take the boat. Normally we hear the story as they took the boat and then they broke the boat and the boat comes back. Let's look at the perspective of the fisherman. And let's look at the perspective of the fisherman. The fisherman done something good. He gave someone his boat. He helped someone. And they returned his boat broken. What would me and you do? Wallah, I'll never lend it again. The blokes are 1, 2, 3. Is that what happens when I do good by someone? That's what happens. I'm never going to do good by anyone else. Haram alayhi to do. Allah Azza wa Jal tells you to do good whether someone's bad to you or good to you. Little did he know. I'm not saying he did that. I'm saying what would me and you do? Little did he know that breakage of that boat, saved his life and saved his family's life. He was still able to work on that boat and provide for his family. So my dear brothers in Islam, the number one amana is the amana towards Allah Azza wa Jal. Your rights towards Allah Azza wa Jal's rights upon us. O you who believe, fulfill the amana. Allah commands you to fulfill the amana. And watch how Allah Azza wa Jal will take care of the rest. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us of those who give us the true understanding of Islam.
I wanna be in Jannah, Jannah, Jannah. Every Muslim dreams to be up in Jannah, 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 Jannah. A pious person's destiny. Inshallah in Jannah, Jannah, Jannah.